Welcome back, Internet, to another episode of Los Compadres Pod. This week with Dar is Bastro
That's
and
me.
Jason Criollo.
I'm so sorry.
The fact that I actually picked it up from that distance.
Yeah, it really did.
that well.
God damn. That was that Red Bull.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's that bullshit.
That
Jay's back on his bullshit.
was unfortunate. That's the first thing y'all heard from us. I'm sorry.
From you.
Not
from us.
Yeah, there's no collective
Hey,
we in
we're
this.
one, okay?
They heard
No,
from
you're
me.
one.
That's
We
me. And they
are-
heard from Caesar. Welcome back, Internet. That's the first thing they heard from
Yep.
me and him.
Yep. From you, it was that soggy ass burp.
Fuck y'all.
God damn. Marcos,
Oh,
drop the
boy.
intro. So, what's good, guys? What's up with y'all this week?
Not much, man. I've been, what, my sixth day off?
Oh, you have 6 days off in a row?
Must be nice.
Really? Are you on
It is.
vacation?
No,
Yeah, he is.
I'm not. I didn't request it.
I mean, but still, you're...
It became a vacation,
Yeah.
but not a vacation that I requested.
It's been quite a week. It's been quite a ride,
Dude,
I turned 26, bro.
you did?
I
Dude.
got shocked. I got shocked. The fucking charger shocked me.
you get shocked?
Because it's got a
Bro.
freaking rip in it right there.
My
I
boy
touched
turned-
it. Ah.
I thought you were just saying, like a tier 26.
No, it shocked me, bro. The fucking charger.
This man was in pain.
So, what'd you do for your birthday, bro?
A whole lot of nothing, bro. I legit didn't do anything. I went to work, came back home, fell asleep early as fuck. I was tired. I was so
Did you do
tired.
anything on the weekend, at least?
No, not really. Just watched the games.
You watch your Cowboys lose?
That was this dude. I honestly think the Cowboys beat themselves.
Like every week?
More specifically this week than every other week. All right, Dak
Didn't they win
Prescott.
last week?
Did you see that throw that Dak Prescott threw that bounced off of that defender's hands? It popped it up, and then Michael Gallup caught it off of the pop up and ran.
No, I didn't see any of the games this week, my guy. I'm sorry.
Damn, you didn't even watch the Patriots game?
Bro, what time?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. You always find time. You used to always watch games at work.
My guy, yeah, no, but it's not the same. And also, I was so tired that I didn't care about anything, bro.
No.
No,
Yeah.
honestly, even
Dude,
the Celtics game, I just saw the score and I was like, all right, cool, moving on.
Oh, you didn't
I
even care that they
I didn't
took
even
the
give a
L?
fuck.
Wow.
I worked 3 doubles this weekend, so I was just legit just trying to survive,
Damn.
and that's all I cared about.
Jeez, bro. 3 doubles, 16 hours back to back to back.
Mhm.
That's rough, bro. That's
Yeah.
rough.
So honestly, I was either at work or I was sleeping. That's all. That's legit my weekend.
I got Lakers in 6. What do you got?
I got Heat in 6.
Heat in 6?
Yeah.
I got Lakers in 6.
I don't want the Lakers to win.
Me either, but I just feel like it's going to be a hard team to beat. What about you, Marcos?
I'm only gonna say the Heat, just because I when I was in Puerto Rico, all my family supported the Heat.
Name one Heat player.
God, if I know. The only reason why I know Lakers players is because of LeBron James. That's the only player I know.
What about AD?
Who?
I
I know the ones that are popular on social media, James Harden and
You mean James Softon?
that that
No,
one kid.
James Harden's pretty good.
The
He's
super
really
young
good.
kid that's Greek or whatever. I forgot his name already.
Greekish?
The one that was popping off
Oh, it's
for that
about
one team.
Jovic, whatever?
Yeah, yeah. The dude
No.
from the Nuggets.
Was it the Nuggets?
Yeah.
That he threw that 3-pointer at
Oh,
the
Luka.
buzzer.
Luka.
Luka, he's
Yeah.
he's
Is it Donovich? Is that what you say?
yeah, but he's not Greek. He's
Russian?
no, fuck, can't remember. But he's not.
He's
Greek.
from Europe.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
he's Europe.
that's all I know.
Can't remember where he's from.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't watch a lot of
Luka's
basketball.
nasty, bro.
Yeah, but it's that's the only thing I know about basketball.
So
I don't even have a team in basketball.
But
Same retweet.
but yeah, so I finally have a day off today. So it's been nice. Which I used to watch Die Hard because one of my managers at work was pressing me about it.
How was it?
Um,
But when he says pressing, he means pressing.
he was pressing.
Good. He
Like,
should,
he wouldn't
bro.
be able to-
he
He
should.
was giving me. He was get legit because he's watched it so much. I guess he really likes the movie.
It's a good movie. It's a
He
great movie.
he was legit giving me lines from the movie every
Yep.
time he saw me.
Yep.
This man was like, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker,"
Yeah.
and like just saying other shit. And I was just like, "I get it, bro. I'm gonna watch it."
Yo, when you watch it, you're like, oh, that's the line.
Yeah.
Bro,
wasn't allowed
I
to walk
can
in
just
the building.
imagine this man
The
saying,
candle when he was in the little what are those things called? The
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 vent?
air duct, the vents.
the vents. Yes.
Yeah, the
when he was
vents.
in the vents and he like did the lighter and his
Yeah.
like face.
Yeah,
I didn't know that was from that.
yeah, it's from Die Hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I give it a 7.5 out of 10.
What didn't you like?
Bruce Willis.
I was just about to make that joke too.
So if,
That and then how long it was. There's no reason that movie should be 2 hours and 15 minutes, bro.
what do you mean?
You could easily make that movie in like an hour 45.
But those movies back then were always long, though.
No,
Like,
they
movies
used
back
to
then
be
were
No,
shorter.
they used to be shorter.
They
That
used to
was
be
that's a
shorter.
long
that
movie
was,
for that
back
time.
Then, that was considered a long.
Because
That's
my
a-
favorite movie, which is Armageddon, is 2.5 hours.
But that was more.
It's unnecessary 2.5 hours, but it's still like a good 2.5 hours. For me.
Yeah, but
Bro, 2:15 for that movie is a good length.
But- but yeah,
what part are you
Well,
gonna
hold
cut
on.
out? Tell me what part you're gonna cut out.
Armageddon. I don't know. You could just shorten it. That's all I know. The first. Okay, look. The first half of the movie. I'm not gonna lie to you. The first half of the movie, I was just like, until he got into the building and everything would start going down. That whole first part, I was just like, all right. Like honestly, I wanted to take it off, but I was like, nah, let me stick to it. The second half of the movie, the last like 45 minutes, I was like, okay, this is cool. I can enjoy it. I was enjoying it. Like I was thoroughly enjoying it.
You want to know what your problem is? Your
But
problem
look-
is that you've watched a lot of movies that have derived from those scenes in that movie that you never got a chance to watch the original. So when you've seen the original, you're like, oh, all right, I've seen it. You're not appreciating the fact that like this is where all those derivatives of those scenes are coming from.
He has a point, because a lot of action movies nowadays, they take a lot from Die Hard.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Die Hard in every,
Exactly.
like,
I mean,
new
I don't
action
mind
movie.
I didn't mind the
'Cause
action or anything.
The
I
whole
just-
literally the whole first part was character building. It was showing you like, bro, this is Bruce Willis. This is what he's got to lose. This is why
but
he's
his
here.
acting is so bad, bro. Like the only scene that I really was like, all right, he killed that scene was when he was on the phone with the cop and he was like, tell my wife this and that. I was like, all right, he killed that scene. I ain't gonna lie. Like I'm not gonna front. He killed that scene. Like I was like, damn. But besides that, I was just like, especially the first part, I was just like, man, this acting is so damn corny, bro. I hate that man's
But
acting.
also, look at the time.
But Alan Rickman carried the shit out of that movie.
You think so?
Hell yeah, bro. That man's a
I
great
disagree.
actor.
I'd
I
second
think
that.
he did good in the movies, but I don't think he carried the film.
No,
What?
I think he.
What?
I could second with that. I don't think Bruce Willis enough necessarily. Like his character didn't
Bro,
really.
Alan
because-
did most of the work, and Bruce, like most of Bruce, what he was doing was just like very short, like lines. Like it wasn't like
Mhm.
nothing crazy. Like Alan had a longer like time talking and like
I guess-
more
I guess-
focus on him.
I guess plot wise.
So here's the thing, right? Because that movie is great from like an action standpoint, but when you think about it, like one of the most memorable parts of that movie was the villain being Alan. What's his name?
That's true.
Yeah, so it's like
Rickman.
Alan Rickman. So when you
What was
watch that movie,
Snape on Harry Potter.
yeah. Oh yeah. So when you watch that movie,
Also carried Harry Potter.
Hell yeah.
yeah, he did.
The way the series ended when he was like actually the good guy. Oh my
Yeah.
god, that man killed it.
Spoiler
I mean,
alert.
killed
Spoiler
Harry Potter.
alert.
Imagine.
If you haven't seen Harry Potter
No.
at this time, I don't know what to tell
Hey,
you.
But-
to be fair, I finished Harry Potter this year.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
This is the first time
I still haven't finished.
I
Bro,
started last year and I
He
finished this year.
carried
I
the
made
last
it-
3 or 4 movies. He
No,
carried
honestly,
Harry Potter.
When I watched Harry Potter, Snape was honestly the most enjoyable character because
Yeah,
I hated
the whole
him and I
time.
loved him at the same
He
time.
killed
Yeah.
that role, bro. He killed
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, like honestly, when you think about it, you always remember like, yeah, Bruce Willis had memorable lines and stuff, but you always remember like what he did, like as a villain,
Yeah,
like that always jumps
yeah.
out
When
to
you,
me.
now that I think about it, plot wise, he did carry it.
Yeah, of course.
But
he
because
did.
I'm when I think about Die Hard though, I think about Die Hard like just straight up action movie.
Yeah,
But when I look at the plot,
it's a
Alan
Christmas
Rickman
movie.
did-
It's not
yeah.
an action movie. It's a
Christmas movie.
It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
because that's a question that was popular about around there, right? Was it action or Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas movie.
It's fucking out of here, bro. It's just an action movie.
It's a Christmas
It's a
movie.
Christmas
dude.
It's
movie,
not
bro.
fucking
It's a Christmas
Christmas
movie.
movie.
Feel-good
Anybody
movie.
that
No,
likes
it's
Die
not.
Hard at any extension knows it's a Christmas movie.
It's
It is-
not a
it's a
fucking
Christmas-
Christmas
dude,
movie. It
you-
just happened
it's a
to happen
feel-good movie.
that it was Christmas around that time. It was a fucking action movie, my
No,
guy.
it wasn't around Christmas. It was during Christmas, dude.
It was Christmas.
It was
Eve.
Christmas. Yeah,
Exactly. It's a Christmas movie.
It's not a Christmas movie,
Christmas
my
movie.
guy.
It's a Christmas
Let us
movie.
know.
No one cared that it was Christmas. Everyone, all of the we cared about was that this man saved the whole building. Well, not the building, but the people in the building.
on Christmas Eve.
Oh my god!
You know what?
But
It's
no,
a Christmas
but
movie.
in all seriousness,
Because the movie came out July 15th, Christmas in July. It's a Christmas movie.
it's not Christmas.
There you go.
Christmas movie.
Problem
It's
solved.
not a Christmas movie. Anyways, in all seriousness, it was. I'm glad I watched it more because of like Alan Rickman than Bruce, but I'm still glad I watched it. Would I watch it again? No, not really. Do I care to watch the other Die Hards? No, not really.
Yeah, you can stop after one. I would
Yeah.
say you could stop after one.
But
The last
It was
Die
alright.
Hard
it was,
was
alright.
good. It was just a little bit more. It was more like exaggerated on the action. Like if you think that was exaggerated in some points of action, like this one's like this
No,
is like
I-
Fast and the
the-
Furious
the action-
exaggerated.
No, no.
It
Like,
kind
the
of
action was
picked up
good.
John
Like-
Wick levels.
Like
Yeah.
no, the thing I'll say about that, besides like okay, like the reason 7.5 is because one is too long, and then two, like I said, I don't like Bruce's acting. Like I think it's corny, right? So that kills it for me. But the rest was good, bro. Like I think the plot was good. I think that like it has some good like comedy moments. Like there were some lines that I was like made me actually laugh. I was like, okay, that was pretty funny. And then the second thing that I was gonna say was the action. Yeah, the action was good, bro. Like the whole like building, jumping off the buildings, the fighting and everything. Like, oh, that show was all good. It wasn't nothing crazy like now how action movies nowadays are like just way blown out
Yeah.
of proportion. Like, come on. So-
Those Fast and the Furious films, dude, are insane.
Because
Yeah,
I mean,
that's-
like
I seen
him
the
jumping
trailer.
off the rope, jumping off the building with the fire extinguisher and stuff like that. Like, I mean, that wasn't that crazy or anything like that. I mean, it was crazy, but it wasn't like how it is nowadays. Like,
Yeah.
Because like even the trailer for the latest Fast and the Furious, where like
The
they
car
jump,
fucking-
they jump off the car and like the hook grabs the car axles and they swing. Like what kind of like I didn't even want to watch the movie because of the trailer.
I don't know.
Fast and Furious being some bullshit, bro.
Like,
It's doing
like,
some
they're
dumb,
doing the
they be doing
most,
dumb
dude.
shit. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, think about the last one. Like half of the last one was this dude on a plane who didn't want to talk to anyone. He's just quiet the whole time because they had his baby. I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
And then he would just go out occasionally, wear a suit, and then they turned on some cars, and then they drove him off of a parking lot.
That's the one with the runway, right? Like the super long runway.
No,
scene?
that's the one where the girl is like, she has like her own like hacking team, and then they hack
Oh.
the cars and they drive all the cars off of that parking lot.
Oh, I didn't see that one either. I know that somebody did the math for the runway scene, and it was the velocity, the estimated velocity they were going at, and the time they were on the runway was 16 miles.
It's a long ass
Very
runway.
long runway, dude.
Most runways are like a mile long.
At most.
Yeah, at most.
Oh man. Well, before we get into the topics, I just want to give a quick shout out to Jeff, because he's gonna retire. He's
Really?
retiring this.
Yep.
This is his last
Friday.
week.
What?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
He's
release
retiring.
day.
Congratulations,
On release day.
man.
For real.
Congratulations. He couldn't stick out one more Black Friday?
I guess not.
Okay, but let's be honest with you, Blake.
honestly, couldn't be me.
No, I know. Me too. I would have
couldn't
did
be
before
me.
Black
Yeah,
Friday
I'm
too, bro.
saying
Hell
It's
yeah.
26 Black Fridays he's worked.
Jeez.
Yeah. But
I wonder which is the most memorable.
I just yo for real.
Yo,
I'm gonna ask him that
have
question actually.
Call,
Let's
call
have him
him
in.
in. Call him in.
Let's have him in.
Huh?
I'm sure he'll join. Now that he's retired, I'm sure he'll stop by.
Well, he listens to almost
Yeah.
all of our episodes.
That's
So
what I'm saying.
Jeff, I mean, Caesar's trying to call you in, man. So when you listen to this,
Yeah, yeah.
let me know.
We'll
We'll
get you
clean up.
get you on the horn, or you come in person.
Yeah.
Doesn't
We
matter.
Caesar will finally clean the room if you show up. So.
Yeah, I'll meet you up.
But
Buy
no,
all
I
my
just
Best
wanna-
Buy
I just want to
receipts.
say congrats to him for retiring, and that I appreciate the support that he shows for listening, and like every like week he comes up to us and he like talks to us about the podcast, and we've just like developed a great like relationship, like friendship over the past like start of COVID, because
Yep.
we've had to like work under him,
Yeah.
so because we always he was always our manager, but he was more in charge of the back and we were on the
Operations side.
sales, so we never really saw him like that. But this past like summer and since the springtime has been really good working with him and stuff, and just like the conversations we have been amazing, and it makes me kind of sad that I didn't have that like type of friendship with him like from
Yeah.
the start beforehand. But I mean, at least I got to have that time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just want to say congrats and appreciate the support.
Yeah.
Congratulations. We appreciate you. You know, like I said,
And all the times that he kept like Best Buy going, because
Yep.
he always did all the work in the back end.
Yep.
like,
true.
For a
True.
long
This
time.
man's gonna be enjoying his sailboat now.
And enjoy your retirement, man. Like,
You think he's
fuck
gonna
yeah.
go back to Chicago?
Oh,
I'm sure he is. I'm
I
sure he.
don't-
I mean, at least
Or
to
you think
visit, probably.
he's gonna stick it out here?
I
don't know.
I don't know.
Oh man,
I would have to talk to
You know
him.
what that sounds like?
what
That sounds like a couple questions we can ask him when he
when he
stops
comes
by.
on,
Yeah.
or if we get him on the horn. So I was scrolling through Twitter, and I was like, okay, did something go off? And I was looking at this thread of people basically saying like being a landlord isn't a real job and landlords are evil, blah blah blah, this and that, and it's like the whole reason the housing market is jacked up is because of people buying properties, rental properties, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to get your guys' opinion on that because I know what my opinion is, and it's just that like it's a job. People try to find ways to be successful.
Yeah.
People try to find ways to make money, and as long as like you're not a shitty landlord who like literally has your people living in slums,
Yeah.
you know, you have like a respectable home, you're taking care of your tenants, and most importantly, you don't try to guilt trip them or extort them into like renewing with you, or like I've seen some shitty things like,
yeah.
but there was this one landlord I saw that looked up if like a couple had gotten their stimulus check so that they could pay rent,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it's like, yeah, like okay, you maybe rent is something you should pay, but it's like if you're gonna choose between eating for the month and paying rent, like you have to eat to survive.
Yeah, but
You know,
most people would choose rent one day.
most people, I mean, that depends. A lot of landlords, like I said, like it depends. I know a lot of companies and landlords were actually offering relief payments,
Yeah.
like pretty much like, you know, don't worry about it,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll just add it on to the end of your lease.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like in a like you're gonna live rent free for a little bit type of thing, but just be
Aware
respectful
that's
about
coming.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're not gonna pay more. Your lease is just gonna get extended.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know. So I know a lot of companies, a lot of landlords that did that. But like, what do you guys think? Like, do you guys think, you know, landlords are evil? Like what they're making them out? Pretty much saying like it's not a real job. You're pretty much just living off of other people.
I don't think you're living off of other people because you have to like have that property type of thing, you know. So you had to have that money from somewhere.
Yeah.
management.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there's definitely situations where like some landlords maybe cross the line or just are like way too much. Like they just don't let off or don't know when to like kind of be nice or do something,
or they're
for someone.
super intrusive too.
Yeah. So I mean, it just depends. But I do think it's a real job. I do think like, you know, you gotta find a way to make money. So I mean, it's a hustle for sure, and it's an easy way to make money too. Not easy, but like
when you think about it, I mean, you have to think about it like this, right? Let's say
you're kind of your own boss.
You are your own boss, but here's the
So.
thing, right? You rent, you know, your own property.
Mhm.
The AC in one of your properties goes down.
Yeah.
You have to now find a way to get that repaired as fast as possible.
I want to say it was easy. I just wanted to say like I meant to say more like it's like you're your own boss.
You're your own boss.
So you're like no one's telling you anything. You know,
Exactly.
you're taking care of charge of everything. So
right.
I mean, so like I said, I don't think it's an evil job. Now I think you can probably say there's evil
Landlords,
people that are doing that job, but I wouldn't say it's an evil job.
I agree. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think it's an evil job within itself. I don't think landlords are, you know, like evil within itself. There's always going to be the exception to the rule, though. I think the problem is that there is enough instances where landlords are given the opportunity to be evil, and I don't think that should be allowed. I think that one, there's not enough not government, but there's not enough landlord protection. Where if pandemic happens, people get furloughed or laid off from their jobs unexpectedly. Who covers the landlord? Nobody.
Exactly.
Like it's just like they have to. like depending on how many properties this landlord has, and depending on how many tenants he has that are furloughed, lost their jobs, or whatever, that could be it for him. You know,
Yeah.
and nobody's there
Mhm.
to protect that person.
Yeah, because I mean, they like basically they can't evict anyone,
Exactly.
and they can't charge rent.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I think the pandemic was kind of like a little bit different because most banks were like, okay, we're gonna defer your payments, but the bad thing about that is that they're gonna defer your payment and then you're gonna have a balloon payment,
Yep.
which is insane, you
Yep.
know. Or they'll spread your payment out over the rest of your mortgage or lease, but
And
your bill's
increases your
gonna go up
payments. Yep.
monthly.
Yeah, and that's the issue. It's the problem is that I know that the pandemic is not something we go through often.
Right.
You know, it's been over now. It's 101 years since the last pandemic.
Right.
But the problem is not that. It's not that. The problem is that shit happens
Right.
with everybody.
Right.
The landlord itself can have a shitty problem, so can the tenant. But nobody protects the landlord. And by nobody protecting the landlord has to do certain things to be able to fend off for themselves.
Right.
You know, like pandemic happens, people lose their jobs, this person stops getting paid because that's their income. They need to figure that out.
Right.
And legally the way you figure that out is to evict them.
Right.
But now you're blocking landlords from evictions. With reason though. Like I completely understand why you don't allow them to be evicted.
Right.
But then you're protecting one group, but then the landlord's not being protected, and that causes like the cynicism in them,
Yeah.
and that causes a lot of the issues that we've seen where
It puts them
whole
in a desperate
yeah,
spot
exactly.
where it's like I don't know what to do, you know, type of thing, because it's like I can't charge people and I can't cover my own shit.
Exactly.
And it's like, well, people would say, well, why don't they get a job? And again, it comes back to you don't realize being a landlord is a full-time job.
Exactly.
Yeah. for
Anything
sure.
happens, you're responsible for it.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I
so
think the same way goes for the tenants. There's not enough tenant protection either.
right.
In a case like this, if our government would have responded properly like every other country in the freaking world did,
Mm-hmm.
and was able to provide a weekly income for these people, without making it a hellscape to get that, because unemployment was literally hell.
Yeah.
There's still people that still haven't received their unemployment checks.
I believe it.
These landlords would have got paid,
Right.
and these tenants would have been able to eat.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so this is this lack of protection on both sides,
yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think that if we can figure out a middle ground for both the tenant and the landlord, shit like this wouldn't be happening.
I agree. I agree. I mean, it's not, don't get me wrong, it's not the tenant's job to provide income for the landlord. You know, it's just an exchange, a mutual exchange there. You know, you're
Yep.
renting a home to, you know, for someone who needs a home, and
Yep.
in exchange, you're putting up your home, you know? So it's like, it's a mutual exchange, but you shouldn't message a tenant and say, what do you mean you're not renewing? Like, I already had that income
Oh, of
accounted
course.
for.
Yeah,
Things
that's what I'm saying.
that.
Like, there's for sure some that are
yeah,
not the best.
yeah.
And or you tell them to fix something, like there's something to fix, and they don't message you back, or they just
Exactly.
don't do it, or they ignore
Exactly.
you, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
At that point, it's like, all right, bro, then why are you doing this? Like,
Exactly.
you shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
But I would probably think that, like I said, it's not a bad job or whatever the case may be. I just think that there's sometimes bad people doing that job.
Yeah.
Which is with every job. So I mean,
Yeah.
yeah,
The problem is that one of them affects people's livelihood.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because if you have a bad person at a Target,
It's
that only
completely different.
affects you for those 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and then that's it.
Yeah.
Well, but the other one affects you like the whole time that you're there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because
24/7.
this is where you live, your place
Exactly.
at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn.
So then, moving on. The next one, I think this was you too.
Yeah.
The Joe Rogan and Spotify.
Joe Rogan and Spotify. Did you guys hear about that?
No.
No. So, Spotify, right, recently acquired the Joe Rogan podcast
They
to stream it exclusively. Yeah.
Oh.
So the Joe Rogan podcast, the full thing, and the clips, I believe, are exclusively on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
And so, along with that came his back catalog, right, of podcasts, and they released it in waves. Like they did the most recent stuff, then some of his later stuff, and then his very first stuff, right? Well, apparently, Spotify employees kind of like all threatened to quit if Spotify kept the Joe Rogan podcast on Spotify, because
It was a strike.
or yeah, they threatened to go on strike.
At the New York headquarters.
Yeah, at their New York headquarters, because Joe Rogan had a lot of interviews with a lot of right wing people,
Okay.
you know, and then he also had, according to the article, a lot of transphobic remarks.
Yeah.
Okay.
And homophobic and transphobic remarks. So, do you guys want me to tell you about it, or you want to give me your thoughts on just kind of that part right now?
I mean, just like a little
Yeah,
synopsis
yeah, just
about.
a
So,
little
so you want
synopsis
all
into it,
right?
yeah.
So more information, right? So, here's the thing. All right, Joe Rogan is the type of person. If you've listened to any of his podcasts, you know that he has people on. He's very educated and he talks to them. More
Mhm.
importantly, more than anything, he talks to these people. He doesn't attack anyone. He
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily agree with what anyone's saying, but he carries a conversation. He
Mhm.
carries a dialogue with people. So he's had far, right wing people like Alex Jones, Ben Shapiro, Milo, people who are super right wing, but he's not saying like, oh, I agree with you, or oh, it's this, oh, it's that. He's, interviewing, carrying a conversation. He's giving a platform for himself, to talk to people he may find of interest.
He's also good with like battling the ideas. It's not like he just like lays there and just like, yeah, you're right, or whatever.
Mhm.
Like he challenges them.
Yeah, he does.
Like the one with Candace Owens, like he challenged her a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's good because now you see where she's coming from. And there was one part where he like kind of like just like he destroyed her talking points.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I think it's good conversation, and we need to see that,
Yeah.
because that's another. I think that's a problem in this country where there's just not enough conversation going for both sides.
Right.
So I think that if it's just because of right wing, I don't think it should go down. But if there's like comments or hateful, like hateful comments or something like that, then yeah, for sure, I think it should, like not be published, for sure. But I also don't see Spotify. I don't have any, like, if Spotify's paying you a bunch of money, they have all the right to do whatever they want because you signed up for it. Like, you were on YouTube doing good, but you wanted more money. So now Spotify's platform doesn't want to do that, then sure.
So here's the thing with that, right? So
I don't see a problem
here's the
with
thing.
Spotify wanting to, and I don't see a problem with the employees wanting Spotify to do that. Because, like, I mean, they're the one that works for a company. So if they don't want to work for a company that supports that, then they have every right to be like, nah.
Okay.
So, I mean, let me just, before you say anything else,
Mhm.
I agree with Jay. I don't think that this is, in my opinion, I don't think this is enough to warrant like a strike and all that stuff. And the reason why is that if it, because I haven't listened, I really haven't paid attention to Joe Rogan podcasts. All I see is those snippets here and there on Twitter. But from everything you said and everything that I have seen, he doesn't really, what's it called? Wait, doesn't really, like agree, like he doesn't really put his stance out. He does what you said. He interviews.
Yeah.
And that's his point. And if we're going to start canceling now and editing and taking out things because in an interview, then at that point, like, what's even the purpose of any news media? Because Fox, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, they all interview people of all spectrums.
Yeah.
Why? What makes this the exception? Because
Right.
it's on your platform and you don't like it. Like, that's dumb in my opinion. Like, if the interviewee is saying these things and he's agreeing with them and he is promoting, was it offensive and hateful ideals, then yes, I get it. But if he is just interviewing people on his show and the people that he's interviewing are the people that are saying these things, yeah, that's completely different. Completely different. That's what an interview is. I think that if that is the concern, instead of just taking it all out, put a disclaimer up saying, hey.
And that's another thing.
Yeah.
That the employees were saying, at least also have trigger warnings.
Yeah.
Like, have major trigger warnings because there's none at all.
Yeah.
So
like,
that was one big point that they were
have
saying.
a pre-recorded message saying, hey, this episode contains
may contain offensive
to some viewers. Please watch with discretion or listen to with discretion, knowing that this is the interviewee, not the interviewer's words. Something like that.
So here's where I disagree with like the left, and this is why I don't really consider myself a Democrat or a Republican, is because I don't think you should silence someone for their ideals unless they're promoting hate speech or something like that, because I mean that is illegal.
Mhm.
But for their ideals, like Alex Jones should have really never gotten kicked off of YouTube because all he was doing was saying like his ideals, promoting his ideals. Now when he started going into hate speech and like actually going into public and bothering people, okay, like cut him off. But he didn't really start that until after he got kicked off
Yeah.
of YouTube, you know? But like once he started to, become a menace to the public and he started promoting hate speech, then it's like, yeah, okay, this is too far.
Mhm.
But you should never really silence someone for their ideals.
He got
Because if
kicked
you
off.
did, the first person who would need to be silenced would be 45.
Yeah. But he wasn't kicked off because of ideals. Like he did hate speech.
Yeah,
on
I was gonna
YouTube.
say even before before he got kicked off,
He would
had
say
some,
he would say kill the gays.
Yeah,
he would
he
say
had
that gay.
some crazy
Yeah, like
shit.
he would say like it's gay frog water. You have to like that's what Flint's going through. Like bunch of like
really
shit.
bad stuff.
Like it's like if you go back and like read it, or I don't know if I don't think it's up anymore, but like he would have hate speech on YouTube.
All right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that's the case, then that's the case, and that's fine.
yeah.
But if it's like, if they started deleting a bunch of.
I think a better I think the better comparison would be Ben Shapiro, because like
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro is definitely all ideals. He
Mhm.
never like completely goes to disrespect someone.
Yeah.
He just always just gives you your ideas, and
Exactly.
obviously not everyone agrees with his ideas.
Yeah.
And some people do, some people don't, whatever. But he's always just about ideas. He's never about disrespecting or anything.
Exactly.
Like that. So like that's what I do respect about him.
Yeah.
Like he never like is like fuck the gays or some shit like that. He never says
No.
anything like that. He always just keeps it like straight ideas and respectful.
Yeah.
At least that's fine.
And he always says, he's like, if you don't agree, you don't agree. He's not like the type of person to like throw it back in your face. or
Yeah,
anything
exactly.
like that.
So like
I think the problem with Ben Shapiro is more not his ideals, but it's how good he is to persuading that his ideals are correct.
Yes.
That's what makes him dangerous. But
Yeah.
it's not that he's hate speech.
yeah, no,
No.
he's not hate speech at all.
And just because he's good at persuasion doesn't mean you should get banned.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
And
that's
and just
that
because
defeats the whole part
he's
of
good at
democracy.
persuasion and your ideals don't match up with him doesn't mean that
Exactly.
you're wrong. It
Exactly.
does not mean you're wrong at
Yeah.
all.
It also doesn't make him right.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like
It doesn't make him right.
It doesn't make you right. Doesn't make him right. Ideals are ideals at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
I think another thing about Joe Rogan too is like his interviews with those people. Yeah, I think is intended to make you like listen, obviously, to those ideas, and then also after that do your own research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but another thing, this is the last thing I'll say on this is okay. So on the Spotify thing, I do agree that they probably do need like trigger warnings and things like that. I agree with that with the Spotify employees. Now, wanting him to stop interviewing those type of people, I don't really agree with that one. Them going and then them having the rights to edit whatever they want, as far as like if it is being hate speech.
Either way, like you said, it falls on him. He should do it. But if he wants to, he will, and if he doesn't, he won't. And that's when after that's when you have to like evaluate your decisions and say, is this someone's opinion who I trust as much as I used to? You know?
Mhm.
But yeah. What's next on the docket, Jay?
So we are 35 days as of this podcast away from election. We are essentially 5 podcasts away from election day. So with that said, the first thing we're going to do this week, and the more that we go on, the more we get closer to the actual election, we're going to go over election specific topics. This week we're going to go over the Florida amendment ballot. You know what that is, right? So in every ballot, in every election,
like they have amendments and stuff.
they have
like that.
amendments
Yeah,
and stuff like this. We're gonna go over the amendments for this election. And to start off, we're gonna start with Amendment 1, which is a suffrage amendment. You know what suffrage is?
No.
Pop quiz.
No.
Caesar, do you know what suffrage is?
Something to do with voting?
Yeah, it's voting rights.
Voting rights.
Yeah, that's all it is. It states. No, wait. Yeah, it is stated in the state's constitution that only the U.S. citizens who are 18 years and older can vote. Previously, it was mentioned that any U.S. citizen can vote. Now they're trying to change the verbiage. Well, I couldn't speak there. To only U.S. citizens can vote. It's a very minor thing, but it's a verbiage thing. I try to find information as to why they're trying to change it. Couldn't find it. To me, it just sounds like it's just simple. It's like specification than anything else.
Okay. Wait. So what was the verbiage before?
It used to be any U.S. citizen can vote, and now it says only U.S. citizens can vote in the state. So to me, it just sounds like it's just a verbiage thing. It's not really, because they both mean the same thing.
Any U.S. citizen
to only U.S. citizens.
Only U.S. citizens. I mean, that's kind of what it was before, because residents couldn't vote. Only citizens could.
Yeah, it's just
really
a verbiage.
Thing, yeah.
To me, it sounds like it's the same thing. I tried to look into it. I couldn't find anything.
I'm sure there's something out there that we're missing.
Yeah, but all the research I did, it literally sounds like it's just
it doesn't say anything about residency, like you have to reside in the United States.
It's just a citizen.
Can't vote.
Because what?
Residents can vote.
I'm saying like you have to be living in the U.S. You have to reside in the United States and be a citizen. Like you can't overseas and vote.
That's the clause after this one.
Oh, okay.
You have to be resident of the state as well to be able to vote in the state's election.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't think there's really.
So is this for just state elections or is this
Both.
for? Okay, go ahead.
Both. All right. Amendment 2 is increase the state's minimum wage to $15 in the course of 2026. So incremental until 2026.
Okay. So the only thing wrong with increasing mandatory minimum wage is that it's also an increase of inflation.
We won't get into the actual because I disagree.
How so?
There are multiple countries and cities and states that have higher minimum wage and their inflation hasn't gone up that bad. Actually, if we look at inflation now and if we look at minimum wage when it started, minimum wage was supposed to increase with inflation. Minimum wage has been more stagnant to the point that it's almost a negative inflation to the actual inflation rate. Where back then you could what was equivalent of $8 an hour, you could buy property and still feed your family and be the breadwinner. Now you need to have a minimum of $22 an hour to live in Florida.
Jesus, that's
to be able to actually spend to buy food.
I was about to say.
So if you're living by yourself, it's impossible unless you're making a lot of money.
I definitely agree with Marcos. I was about to say, inflation has definitely gone up a lot more than what the minimum wage has.
I agree with that.
The original verbiage.
So if we raise minimum wage and inflation keep going up, then fuck it. I mean, inflation. It seems like inflation is always gonna go up, and minimum wage is never gonna go up.
Exactly.
So what's the fucking point?
Might as well
just fucking raise it.
Because in the verbiage of the original federal minimum wage, it said that minimum wage has to be increased according to reflect inflation.
So is minimum wage the same thing as minimum livable wage, or is that different?
No, minimum livable. Basically, now, yeah, because it's federal now. Federal is the federal is technically the livable wage.
So is this going to increase state minimum or federal?
This is only state.
Okay,
this is only for Florida.
So that I could see how that wouldn't increase inflation, because if you have the rest of the country making less and you have Florida making 15, the rest of the country still has to be able to come into Florida and make those purchases.
And if anything, increases the amount of purchase power in Florida.
Exactly. So that I could see how that would be beneficial to Florida. I just don't see like on a national level, when you're talking about nationwide, I can see how that would severely increase inflation as well.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the only thing. But like you said, if inflation's always going to increase,
the federal
average,
the federal one states that it has to reflect inflation, but we've actually it's almost a negative rate.
No, and I'm saying
that inflation has gone up and minimum wage has federally.
And I'm saying I agree with Jay. It's like if inflation's going to go up, like
might as well help.
Might as well.
Yeah. Like at this point,
for me, federal or state, like they both need to go up, because it's like I said, over the past 50 years, if you look at it, inflation has gone up through the roof, and minimum wage has stayed the same.
Yeah,
but it's like I just don't get the point of like that counter argument. I just don't get it, because it's like, so one can go up but the other can't. but then you're scared that one's gonna go up and then create more inflation, but inflation already has gone up.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this.
That makes no sense.
I'll tell you this.
I mean, it makes sense
when
but
it
doesn't make
goes.
sense
Yeah,
either.
when it goes up, if a lot of most companies do adopt it, which they'll have to because it's
Mhm.
statewide, you're gonna have a lot of vacant positions in some government offices and some like teachers and stuff like that because it's not gonna be worth it. Like the salary versus minimum wage versus the stress level is just not gonna be worth it. There's gonna be people in offices who make maybe $20 an hour who will gladly take the $5 pay cut to have significantly less stress.
Mhm.
You know, and vice versa. There's teachers out there who make $20 an hour.
But you know what that would create? Demand. And then you know
Demand.
what demand creates? More pay.
Yep, more pay. But not at a state level. You'd be surprised. You know how long Polk County's been starving for teachers? For 12 years now. And the pay has only gone up. I think it's been like $2,000 or $3,000.
But they made it
past
work.
12 years.
They've made it work. But when it gets to a point where you can't make it work, they're gonna do it because they have no other option.
I guess.
Yeah.
I guess.
But next amendment establishes a top 2 open primary system for the state office primary election. Basically, what that means is a closed primary for state office.
What is that? I don't understand.
Back now, currently, if you are voting for governor
Yeah.
in the primary, you can vote for either Republican or Democrat in the primary.
I thought you had to be registered.
For
For
presidential.
your presidential.
Just presidential.
Yes.
Yeah.
Currently, you can, like right now, you can literally. I voted in the. I remember vividly that when I voted for this guy,
Ying.
Gillum
Gillum.
for the presidential, the governor. This fool DeSantis was in my ballot too. In the primary, because it's an open primary for the state. We're
Right.
trying to make it a closed primary for the state.
So what does that mean?
That means that you have to be registered to be able to vote for the candidate in that party.
Oh, so that's
So
a
you have to be
no.
registered
Democrat or Republican
to vote for
for
either
a
one.
Democrat or Republican candidate in the primary.
So is that a yes or no?
For me, it's a. For me, I think it's a no. In my opinion,
Okay.
I would say no.
Yeah, for me it's a no. Even in the presidential one, I think it's a no for me.
I think it's a no too.
I don't
For
know.
primaries, there's really no reason why. Because I'm only registered Democrat because I wanted Bernie. But-
I've been no party affiliation since I registered.
But the problem is that no party affiliation can't vote in the primary.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's
Which
why
is the
that's
issue.
a big issue for me. Like because it's like, especially it's the primary, so you don't know what direction you want to go. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like you're forcing someone to go into the direction that they
Yep.
may not want to go.
Mhm.
So I'm okay with someone voting for either the left or voting for both because they want one from the other, and then whoever wins there, then they go
Yep.
to like.
Because I
the
voted
last-
both Republican and I voted both Democrat. Like I've done both.
So I mean, I get what you're saying, right? That you kind of forced to vote for someone you may not want to vote for, but at the same time, wouldn't that fall on me? Because I should probably register if I wanna.
Yeah, but
the
then
problem,
I want
the
that
problem is
person.
if you say, oh, I'm going to be Republican, you can only vote for the
Republican candidates.
Candidate.
in the
And if I
primary.
don't like any of them, and I like the Democratic ones, I can't.
But let's
Can
say
I
you like.
switch?
But let's say you
not,
like,
not unless you do it before the deadline. But the problem is not that. The problem is that let's say you like Governor X. He's Democrat, right? You don't like Governor Y. He's a Republican.
Right.
But you like Senator Z, not Senator W, and Senator Z is a Republican. Now you have to choose: who do I want more, Senator or the governor?
Governor.
Because if I want the governor that's Democrat and the senator that's Republican, I have to choose one of the two sides.
Exactly.
I can only
All
vote
right,
for
that-
the governor, and I can vote for the
Exactly.
senator, or I can
Okay.
only vote for the senator and not the governor.
Okay.
That's the problem with a closed primary.
All right.
Yep.
I understand now. Thank you
So
for explaining
that's
that.
why.
Well, in
why
this
for the
case, sorry,
president-
not senator, representative, because you vote senators in the main election.
Yeah,
right.
so that's why I think for the presidential one, I think it's just like I just think it should just be open. Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
it
And
doesn't
in
matter.
state too.
I
think,
understand.
I think so.
I
My
understand.
vote on that amendment will be no.
Yeah.
For the state.
All right.
Amendment
And
4.
Obviously, you can vote
When
whatever
it-
you want.
yeah,
we're not telling
yeah.
you to do what you want. I mean,
This is
what
just
to
our
vote.
opinion.
This is
and
our opinion.
and
Just
our
wanna say that.
direction and
Just
our
wanna-
reasoning
yeah.
why.
just
So
wanna say
so
that.
Marcos is the politics guy, so I just have to have him explain these things to me
Yeah.
for me to get them.
But yeah, I just want to state that before
Right.
since
I
people are
get you.
listening to this.
So Amendment 4 requires voter-approved constitutional amendments to be approved by voters at a second general election. Meaning that if there is a amendment being done to the approved constitution, which is the constitution we have, there has to be an election, a second election, because you have one election, but you don't vote for it technically.
Mm-hmm.
You vote first, you vote for the representative and the senators that will vote for that amendment in the constitution. So once they make that decision, make a second election and get the general public's opinion on that amendment.
I
And
could see that.
make it a double-edged sword.
So here's okay, I can see that.
Because I kind of like this because there's times where I vote for X candidate, and I vote for X candidate because he has 90% of my values and 90% of my ideals, but then there's that 10% that I don't agree with him, right? And then he's voting an amendment for that 10% that I don't agree with him, and I kind of I can't voice that.
Yeah.
Right.
Does it make sense?
Right. Yeah.
Because I have to suck it up because he's representing my 90%.
Right.
So I kind of agree with this. I mean, I kind of agree with this. Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
in my opinion, this is a yes.
I think anything that involves more general public opinion should definitely be passed on.
Yeah, this is
Like,
True.
That'd be pretty cool.
And the category for this is called direct democracy.
Yeah.
And I fully agree with it. It's
Yeah.
literally democracy at its finest.
Exactly. So-
Voting.
Yeah.
Amendment 5 is a taxes thing that doesn't really help. It kind of affects us, but not really. Increases the period during which a person may transfer Save Our Home benefits to a new homestead property from 2 years to 3 years. Essentially, from all the research I was able to get, Save Our Homes is a property tax that drops it down to 3%, due to financial issues within the first 2 years. But if you move, either to a lower property, stuff like that, that doesn't after 2 years, it doesn't transfer.
Gotcha.
So if let's say you are at a $2,000 house, I wish, a $200,000 house, and you had to move to a $150,000 house for financial purposes, that 3% federal tax, state tax that you benefit of, doesn't transfer with it if you do it. So they're trying to make it 3 years because some people, just to give that extra year. I think to me, doesn't sound like a bad thing.
I mean, it's a benefit,
No.
so I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know why not. Why not? You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes
It's better than a foreclosure.
Yeah.
exactly.
Absolutely.
And sometimes things happen in life, so
Yeah.
And so Amendment 5 is another taxes one that doesn't really affect us that much, but it allows homestead property tax discount to be transferred to the surviving spouse of a deceased veteran. So if a veteran is the main signer in the house and he dies or passes away, whatever the case may be, that discount no longer applies to the second signer, which in this case would be the wife or the kids, whatever. This amendment allows for that discount to continue on to whoever the co-signer is of the house.
yeah, that's a hell yeah for me, obviously.
Yeah, like these people put their lives on the line for the country. A little discount on their houses doesn't hurt.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So
I mean, now that kid or that wife has to go
exactly,
you know, their whole life without them. So I mean,
Yep. a little
Some
whatever we
help.
can help is something.
exactly. Well, I don't know if you guys seen, but it's been exploding all over Twitter the past couple of days, which was the fact that the New York Times did a whole like editor's note on releasing Trump's taxes for the past, I think it was like 15 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And they found out that in 2016 and 2017 he only paid $750 for his tax bill. And then out of 11 out of the 18 years that they saw, he had no federal tax income. So the past 18 years, he's had no, or 11 of those years, he's had no tax income.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Wait,
Yeah.
are these his personal taxes or these
Personal.
these
Personal
aren't
taxes.
his company taxes?
Mm-mm.
No, it's all
This
personal
is
taxes.
his file.
Wow.
So I just wanted to like,
This is
Get
the
your
same
thought.
man who was blaming Obama for only paying 20% on his taxes?
yeah,
Which he's
which was like
actually
almost like $100,000 or something like that.
Obama has actually paid the most in taxes as on the first year as president. out of all the presidents in recent history.
So I'm just gonna read off like some of the Times key findings. Right, these are like the key findings of the article.
Yeah.
So, like I said, 11 out of the 18 years, he's paid no federal income tax. And then the 2016, 2017, it was 750. He has reduced his tax bill with questionable measures, including a 72.9 million tax refund that is in the subject of an audit by the IRS. Many of his signature businesses, including his golf courses, report losing large amounts of money, losses that have helped him to lower his taxes.
Wow.
The financial pressure on him is increasing as hundreds of millions of dollars in loans he personally guaranteed are coming due soon. And even while declaring losses, he has managed to enjoy a lavish lifestyle by taking tax deductions on what most people would consider personal expenses, including residences, aircraft, and a $70,000 in hairstyling for television.
Oh my god, bro!
And
How much?
$70,000 in haircuts for television.
What the fuck?
And then Ivanka Trump, while working as an employee of the Trump Organization, appears to have received consulting fees, in parentheses quotes, that has helped reduce the family's tax bill. As president, he has received more money from foreign sources and U.S. interest groups than previously known. The records do not reveal any previously unreported connections to Russia. So those were like the key points from the investigation that the New York Times did.
So the biggest thing, and this is beyond the points you just mentioned that I've been reading and seeing about, Trump has gone with $750 in taxes, right? Paid.
Mm-hmm.
But he has cost taxpayers, I think it was over $100 million in golf visits to his own resort.
I believe it.
So my question is, how do we still defend him?
I don't know. I don't know who
How
he
do you
is.
still defend him paying only $750, but then costing us over $100 million in visits to his own golf courses?
I think on the golf course part, I feel like every president has cost a certain amount of money.
But he's done the most out of anybody. And the problem is not that. The problem is that he's gone to his golf courses. And his golf courses are charging the rentals and the spacing because they have to rent the golf course because they can't just let anybody go for them.
So he's charging the U.S. for it, but he's making the money.
But where does that money go? Back to his resorts.
Yeah.
Back to him at the end of the day.
Okay, I see that point. I can see that point. And the other point I was going to say was I see where he criticized Obama so hard for just golfing, and he's doing the same shit.
Obama went on 2 golf trips during the Ebola pandemic. Trump has gone over 28 during the coronavirus pandemic. Obama has 2 dead bodies. Trump has 200,000 and rising.
I don't know, man. This whole thing is just crazy. I don't know how this man continues to get away with it. Like, he's being audited by the IRS. He's being investigated by the FBI.
$72.8 million.
Yeah,
Refund check.
Refund check.
I barely get $750 in my refund.
I pay that in a month. I pay that amount of taxes in a month. Like, that's insane. That's how much I pay in taxes.
I get
per month.
I get his pay for taxes was my refund. He paid my refund.
$750.
$752 to be exact.
That's crazy.
What the fuck?
You got a $752 refund?
Yep.
You lucky bitch.
But I mean, it's crazy, bro. Someone that claims that they make billions of dollars and
successful businessman,
and he only paid $750.
So which is it? Is he a successful businessman or is he a
successful con artist?
I don't know.
He's definitely a con artist.
Yeah,
he's a really good con artist in my opinion.
That whole,
but
I would assume
think
that
about
whole
it.
family.
I was reading a tweet and it was saying that so he inherited, or AKA got a small loan of $1 million from his father, right?
Small.
But if you think about it, so he got this money from his dad, and then that's where he, I guess, took off or whatever. And I'm pretty sure he got more money from his dad. There's no way just it was $1 million. Or more help, at least.
Well, loan meaning that's the only thing he had to pay back.
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
how much he actually got on top of that.
Exactly. But then if you also think about it, too, what the tweet was saying was he also inherited a good-ass economy from Obama.
It was already on the rise.
And then he claimed that it was all him.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, damn, bro. Like,
Obama
in his personal life, he did that. And then in his presidential, like I guess terms or life, whatever. He's also doing that same.
Obama
thing.
got the unemployment under 8%.
Dude, my dad always says, "El que mucho habla, poco hace."
Yeah.
The one that talks the most does the little.
Ladra
The
pero
least.
no muerde.
Yeah. Or does the least. I'm sorry. Does the least.
That's the least.
And so the thing is, it's like
Terrible
Obama
translator.
suck a fat bag of donkey dicks.
I read
But no, the thing
Excuse
is,
me?
like, Obama never talked about. Oh, I mean, he did talk about it, but he didn't talk about it to the level of Trump, like of how he helped bring back the economy. And
'Cause
even then,
he was humble.
people, yeah, and even
Oh.
then, people were still like, "Oh, it was on the rise anyways. It was on the rise anyways." But then Trump takes office, and it's like, "Oh, he did it," and then he's even saying how he did it. It's like, you notice, Obama spoke the least and did the most, like a ton of action.
I don't know. It's just crazy to me, bro.
It is.
Like,
It is.
I think I'm just gonna say this. I mean, I think every time I talk about Trump, country over party, man. That's just the biggest
That
thing for me.
is-
Country over party.
That is.
And like,
Yep.
I got in this weird algorithm on TikTok for like a couple weeks ago where I started seeing a lot of right stuff. And in that week as well, I started seeing with the right stuff. I started seeing like a lot of conservatives that were like saying like that they got played and that like they feel stupid or whatever, and that they're gonna do the right decision and vote for Biden. And like those people that really think like that, like I applaud them and I have the most respect for them because they're doing what I'm saying, like country over party, man. Like they're not conservatives, they still have their values of that, but at least they're realizing that for the country's sake, Biden is the better choice.
Bro,
And
this whole,
and to admit that you got played and to admit that you were wrong, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep, absolutely.
So like,
absolutely.
so those people, like, mad respect. And like I said, I see myself a little bit more left or democratic because of my views on like LGBT and like pro-choice and all this stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like,
Same.
like I always say, like if I was in a situation where someone on the left was just way too bad for the country, and the person on the right
Yep.
was better, I'm gonna vote right
Same.
because
Same.
the end of the day is country over
Same.
party.
Like I said, when you look back
So
at it,
it's just like,
yeah,
you gotta do what's right, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta put your ego away, or when you know you're wrong and you just want to admit it. Like, just put it away, let it go, and just do the right thing. That's all I gotta do, bro. That's all I gotta do. Because
It's
like
not that hard.
I don't get it.
preach,
I don't get it, man.
preach.
People fantasize parties. People
They romanticize.
they romanticize. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
the word.
Yeah.
And I don't get it. I find that disgusting. That's where I remember one time we were having this conversation. That I was like, oh, patriotism. I mean, yeah, patriotism is wrong and stuff like that. I misspoke. Nationalism is bad, and nationalism is what Republicans do. Because nationalism is what literally every other dictator has done.
Radical nationalism.
Well, no, just nationalism is radical. Nationalism is a radical form of patriotism.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And
Didn't know that.
so the fact that we romanticize and we have this fetish for nationalism in the Republican side, but there has been clearly warnings of how dangerous that is in history is insane. And the other thing is, going back to the taxes, I was reading comments on like the whole 750, and I remember there was a whole grid, and it showed that Obama paid the most in taxes.
Mhm.
And people are like, "Oh, I guess Obama is pretty wealthy. I guess Obama got like is selling a lot of books then and stuff like that." And so in my head, I'm like, "How is this an argument?"
It's not.
Because you proclaim Trump to be a successful businessman. That's why he's going to be able to run the country. But Obama has paid more taxes, and by your mentality, Obama is more successful.
Well, on that bombshell, it's time for us to end. Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Los Compadres podcast. We will see you guys next week. Please don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Los Compadres Pod. And tell your friends about us. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
I love you, Jesus.
Marcos, hit that beat.